Hello everybody, it's your girl Bria Van Kooten and welcome back to Discussion the Show. I told you guys I will be here with a Wendy Williams documentary review. Where is Wendy Williams? We're going to be talking about the documentary, the 2-night documentary that premiered this past weekend. I wrote down some notes to jot down some things I can remember. So I'm going to talk about a couple things that happened, my thoughts, and all of that. So without further ado, let's get into the video. To be or not to be, not. Alright, so like I said, Wendy Williams, Where is Wendy Williams documentary aired this past weekend. If you don't know, Wendy has a deal with Lifetime to produce different things. Back in, what year did her movie come out? 2019? Yeah, 2019, 2020. You know, her movie, her Lifetime biopic came out. And then she also had a documentary, Wendy Williams, What a Mess, came out around that same time. And during that time, she was talking about her having a deal with Lifetime to produce different things. So this documentary came out of that deal, of her Lifetime deal. And then this documentary was basically supposed to be a segue into her podcast that was supposed to come out. But instead, it showed a different light of Wendy and her basically having dementia, which was just announced and which we see throughout the documentary. So I definitely wish that it did not air, because I know for a fact, like, knowing Wendy, obviously not knowing her personally, but following her career and watching her and knowing her from watching her on TV, she would not want to be seen in this light. Like, she would not want to be seen without her wig. She said this multiple times on her show, like, she will never be seen without her wig. So the fact that she's over here like pulling her wig off and all that, not Wendy. Like, not Wendy at all. Like, showing like her feet with the lymphedema and all that, like, that is not Wendy. And I just know her in her right state of mind would not want that to be seen. But I do believe that the family released it to show the guardianship and to basically help them to get control over Wendy and be able to take care of her and get her out of this guardianship thing. So I really do feel like that was the reason why the documentary was released. And of course, like I said, they wanted the fans to see like what has been going on with Wendy the past couple of years. And it was definitely very sad to watch, especially me being a fan. I love Wendy. Like, that's my girl down. Like, she is an icon. She is a legend. She is a trailblazer. All of the things that you see today, Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, every like gossip thing, Wendy was the pioneer of that shit. Like, she started this shit. And I always give her flowers for that. And it's sad to see like people saying, oh, this is her karma and this and that. Like, no one deserves that. First of all, that was her job. That's what she did. That's how she made her living. And she loved it and enjoyed it. And not only that, not only did Wendy talk about what was going on with other people, but she talked about her own self as well. So she wasn't off limits. And yeah, I will forever be a fan. It was sad to watch. And as somebody that has been in close proximity to people who have dementia and who had dementia, I can say it is definitely not something to be taken lightly. It is not something that is easy to deal with, and it should definitely be taken with grace. So I hope Wendy is doing well. I hope she is in the right state. And I do believe, knowing her story, I believe that her marriage and the downfall of her marriage and the cheatation and the baby and all of that trauma of being with her ex-husband for all those years and dealing with that definitely played a role in all of this. That stress loss and the trauma, and then her being alone, and then drinking, and then her mom dying, like all of that definitely played a role in this. Of course, like with stress and then drinking and all that messes up your cognitive skills. And we see, like, if you watch a documentary, you have seen all of that. So yeah, it was one part that had me rolling when Wendy said, "I'm not a crier." I was like, Wendy, girl. Now we know that is a lie, and that's right there, strike one of I knew that she was going through cognitive decline and the dementia situation, because Wendy, girl, like, there are many videos of my girl crying, and watching her show and knowing her through TV, we know my girl is a crier. And then of course we have seen, like, we see the erratic behavior of course people was like, oh my gosh, she's being so mean to the people around her. And again, like we have been saying, she has dementia, and the dementia that she has, the frontal dementia, it's basically having erratic actions towards people. And dementia does have like a impact on how you talk to people or how you treat people. Like, you don't mean to, but it heightens certain situations. So that is what we are seeing. Of course, we saw the part where her wanted to pick out her outfit and her not liking the outfit, and her yelling, and then her talking to Will crazy, and then her apologizing that she didn't know that it was him, and then her calling the nail tech dumb, and then her saying, Sean, you need liposuction. And it was little things of Wendy in there that made me chuckle a little bit, because I know, watching her, obviously I know her personality. And then seeing more of like her mental decline, the part where she went to Wendy Williams' way and her not knowing like which street she grew up on, like that was like, oh my God. And then of course with her saying she's going back to her show in September. And that's the thing with dementia, like it's something, you remember things obviously that has been on your mind. Like she knows, okay, her show usually starts, new season starts in September, so she's like, all right, I'm going back to the show in September, I'm going back to my show on Wednesday, I'm going back to my show here. Like she had that on her mind, that she wants to be back on TV, she wants to be on her show. And then of course we see her not know what the Oscars was. That was like, my heart was like, I know my girl is not in there, because Wendy is the pop culture queen. Like she knows what is going on. So for her not to know what the Oscars were, I was like, yeah, my girl is not in her right mind. And then even when she went to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, she didn't know that that was the area. You can tell she was out of it there when the fans came up to her like, how you doing? How you doing? She didn't even say how you doing one time. Like she didn't even hit you with the how you doing? Like she didn't even hit you with that. I was like, yeah, that's not Wendy at all. And then of course with her wearing, she wore that outfit multiple times, and again, not remembering that you wore this already, not knowing what's going on, you wanted to repeat things. That's that dementia type of behaviors. And of course we see multiple occasions of her wanting to drink, her talking about, oh yes, we're going out so I can get a drink, her having bottles of vodka in the house. I really want to know who's bringing those bottles in the house, because she shouldn't even have that access. But something in me is pointing to Sean, Ms. Zanotti, no Giuseppe, because she just seems like an enabler. Like watching the documentary, she seems like an enabler. She doesn't think anything is wrong, and we clearly see that something is wrong, but she says she never saw Wendy drunk, and she's letting Wendy drink when she shouldn't be drinking. She's taking Wendy to meetings. Like Wendy should have never been in LA at a meeting. Like there's no way. She in that moment she didn't even know what's going on. And then to go from drinking to then a meeting, that's not even, you're not even in your right state of mind at that point. So yeah, I definitely feel like she shouldn't even be with Wendy, and just the people around her in general. Seeing Sean, seeing Will, like, I just feel like none of those people have her best interest to me. And seeing Will dripped out in designer down, I'm like, like, I understand people love to wear designer things, but in this space, I just feel like it looks kind of bad and tacky, and especially dealing with like Wendy and like her money situation and Wells Fargo, and then you out here dripped out in every single designer thing. It looks kind of sus. And I just feel like that whole guardianship thing is crazy to me, because one, why isn't her family being able to take care of her? And then you as the guardian, you have no food or water or anything in the fridge. You're supposed to be guarding, and there's no food and water in the fridge. That seems sus to me. But I will say her being in Miami definitely felt light. You can tell she loves being around her family. She definitely felt like a better and different Wendy being around her family. She talked about her being bored and her being lonely in New York. But she likes being in New York at the same time because she gets to do what she wants, and of course her family doesn't want her to drink and do all of that. So she likes that aspect of being in New York, but she loves being in Miami, being with her family, because she's not lonely. And to me, seeing her with her family, she felt and looked better and happier. You saw when she saw her father, how happy she got. She saw Kevin Jr., how happy she got. And definitely when she called her brother Kevin, I don't know if y'all peep, she called her brother her ex-husband's name, and I was like, ooh. And you could see like Mr. Williams, her father, like, he looked like, oh my gosh. And I was thinking, like, to see your child in that light must be a different thing, because usually it's the kids seeing their parents or grandparents in that like dementia kind of phase. But to see your child in that must be like a different experience, because you could tell he just looked heartbroken. But the way he played it off and went along with what she was singing, I loved how he handled it. Because in that situation with people with like dementia, Alzheimer's, and all of that, when you try to correct them, it can escalate, because they have what they feel like is in their mind, and if you try to correct that, it can escalate the situation. So I love that he was like playing along with it. Of course, we saw her niece Alex, who clocked Sean's tea from the beginning. She was not messing with Michonne. And then of course we saw her mom Wanda, which is Wendy's sister. And I love the fact when it was a phone call that Alex had the phone on speaker, and she brought it to her mom, and Wanda took it off of speaker for that privacy, and she didn't share with her, and Wendy talked about. I love that. And of course we see Wendy's son, and we see Wendy's nephew. And one thing I can say, you know it's real, because Wendy's family is very low-key, if we're being real. We do not see Kevin out and around doing anything. We don't hear it from her niece. Wanda don't even do interviews, nothing. So the fact that we see her family in this documentary, you know it's real, and you know that they want something to be done, and for them to have that guardianship over Wendy. And of course we see the part where everybody was talking about that was trending with her and Black China. I definitely feel like at first when China walked into the room, I don't think she knew that it was China, Angela. I don't think she knew, but by the end I feel like she picked up who it was. But something about it was giving me she didn't really know who China was at the beginning. But it was great to see Angela come and visit her and make her feel good. And especially, you know, her and Wendy had like a little turmoil, because Wendy used to talk shit about her about like her life and stuff. So the fact that Angela could turn a new leaf and be cool, and her and Wendy be cool, I feel like everybody needs to just let it go, because everybody's holding this grudge, like Wendy was talking about them and their family. Like, just let it go and just have grace and sympathy for my girl. And then towards the end of the documentary, we see her apartment up for sale. They cleared it out. Wendy's in a facility as they're clearing out. First of all, that apartment is stunning, beautiful, as Wendy would say, delicious. it is a beautiful apartment, but they cleared it out, cleaned it out. It's on the market to be sold. Of course, we know Wendy's trying to get into a different apartment because she can't walk the stairs like she used to. And then she just for real needs to be in a whole new space, because I feel like that space holds a lot of like trauma for her after leaving her divorce and then going into that. I feel like it holds a lot of trauma. She needs somewhere new and to start fresh. And then towards the end for me, as I was watching and hearing her talk to Alex and Wanda and stuff, I feel like she sounded a little bit more clear. Her being in the facility, I definitely hear like a lightness and a clarity in her voice from the little that I heard her speak towards the end. It definitely sounded positive, so I really hope that's going into a positive light for her. And just to end it off, my final thoughts, I was saying watching it, during these past 2 years, I don't feel like Wendy needed like a management team. Like I feel like that's why I go back to like not trusting the people around her. She didn't need a management team. She didn't need like all of this like crisis management, all of that. To me, you're like paying all of this when she shouldn't even have been trying to work. She should be been in a facility trying to get better versus having a management team and stylists and all these people around her that are getting paid, but she didn't need all of that at that time. She shouldn't even have been working or trying to work. So that's why I go back to connecting to the people around her, taking advantage of her. And the one good thing I guess I could say that came out of this is that Kevin Sr. doesn't have to get paid alimony because her money is tied up, and I love that. That's the one positive. Other than that, it was, again, very sad to watch. I really hope that the guardianship ends and she can be in the care of her family and she gets her access to her money, or at least her son, something, because that is so crazy to me. And I just wish her well, and I'm sending her positive vibes. Like I said, I am a fan. I love Wendy, and for the last couple of days I've literally been watching old clips of the Wendy Williams show just to see her in like a better light than watching the documentary and seeing her in that light, because it definitely made me sad. And it made me realize, like, which I've known because I've seen it. I've seen people in my family deal with dementia, so I have seen it and how fast like you can switch and how life works. So I've seen it, but then seeing it like with Wendy and how she went from this to that, it was definitely heartbreaking to see. And just thinking about, I forgot to add this in, thinking about how her career was on such a high before all of this. Like before the Wendy Williams show got canceled, she had her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She had her movie, her documentary. She was on such a career high. So to go from that to this, it was just very heartbreaking to watch, and it was just very sad. So I definitely wish her well, definitely sending her positive vibes. And y'all comment down below, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel to see more. Follow me on my social medias. Go check out my previous video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.